Nestled within 2 acres of woodland on the Isle of Wight lies a build that sits perfectly at one with its scenery. This is the cool and calm Haddon Lake House, inspired by an ancient Japanese mill. And the driveway is truly magical.
What a beautiful, beautiful way to approach a house. It's actually quite nice to appreciate it from afar because it's all about how it merges with the landscape. And Japanese architecture is really about the horizontal. And you can see it from here. You've got the floating deck, you've got the horizontal window frames, you've got the horizontal blinds on the other side of the glass. And the reason why that horizontal is so important is it grounds the building. It connects it to the landscape. It just comes together to make it really beautiful.
Built in 2006, the architect's brief was to create a building full of light.
And just like any good traditional Japanese building, it's all about the timber.
By far the most prominent feature of traditional Japanese buildings is the dominance of wood. Timber was given great respect, never painted, so the grain could be appreciated. And the exquisite Japanese design continues inside.
Look at this fireplace. That is so cool. And just like a traditional Japanese fire, it's the absolute focus of the entire space. And then outside, you've got a hitting stone, and you can hear that lovely sound of the water hitting the stone and coming all the way through the interior of the house. And Japanese architecture is so strongly linked with water. So that sound is so important to a space like this.
This house certainly instills a glorious feeling of peace, uncluttered from the often hectic world we all know outside.
When you come up to the first floor master bedroom, it's huge. It's the full width of the main central part of the house. And you just see Japanese influences everywhere, like the sliding doors and sliding screens. They were one of the first exports of Japanese architecture to the West, and just think about how much we use them today. It's completely transformed the design of some modern houses. And just look how idyllic that is. I mean, you literally could be in Japan. The beauty of simplicity. It's not a complicated build at all, this. But when it comes to architecture and nature being as one, it nails it.
And outside, the Zen gardens embrace an ambient mixture of exotic plants with what was a Victorian woodland.
The peace and tranquility of this place has been an absolute joy. And you don't need large grounds like this to make it happen either. You can do it in small spaces. The Japanese have taught us that probably more than any other country in the world. And I'm feeling very chilled and very zen right now.
This is the House of Essex, a collaboration between London architecture studio FAT and artist Grayson. It took 5 years to complete and was finished in 2015.
Wow, what a sight to behold. It's almost like a piece of jewellery in the rolling Essex countryside. You have that wonderfully steep copper roof that gives it this really slightly decadent feel. Another connection with Russia is this building was inspired by the Russian dolls. You've got your main building, and then little buildings have been drawn out of it.
The exterior of the building is clad in these striking green glazed tiles. A prominent feature of Russian Muscovite architecture from the late Middle Ages, they've been given a Grayson twist, in homage to his fictional character Julie Cope, the everywoman of Essex.
It's So you walk through the door and you're greeted by this wonderful entrance, lots of rich yellows, and you walk through into the kitchen. The first thing that strikes you is this tiled fireplace, and it looks like a secret door. Oh my word. It's like stepping through the looking glass into a completely magical fantasy world. And then this huge bombardment of colour. And then in the centre, Julie, a giant ceramic icon with her hands outstretched, like some sort of Madonna.
The collaborative vision was to create a kind of chapel inspired by the look of Russian stave churches. And Julie is almost like a religious idol at the centre of this story.
So I'm in one of the master bedrooms, and as you sleep here, you look up at this huge tapestry of Julie and her second husband. This house is full of secrets, and if I open here, I find a wardrobe. But beyond that, you walk through the bedroom and again into this incredible living room and a new set of views, because you're higher up. It is so bonkers, this space. So much to look at.
The House of Essex is a fantastically decadent celebration of Russian architecture. Without doubt, it's an unusual sight to see in this part of the world, but it illuminates the Essex landscape beautifully.
What I love about this project is the way they've drawn from the opulent, fairy tale-like Russian architecture whilst keeping the brilliantly British bonkersness that comes with Grayson Perry's signature off-the-wall projects.
You've never been here, have you?
I'm quite confused. I know I'm in Wales, but with a twist.
You're in for the most wonderful surprise. This is the vision of an Italian paradise. You ready?
I think so.
Come on, let's do it. Welcome to Portmeirion, Will.
This village, an Italian-inspired labour of love, was the vision of Welsh architect Clough Williams Ellis, which he built over a period of 48 years between 1925 and 1973.
And then you come through this beautiful archway, Will, and it all opens up to the Italian piazza. Look at this.
Everywhere you look, there's so much detail.
Up until 1965, this square used to be given over to a tennis court. But as the village was becoming renowned for its Italian ways, architect Clough Williams Ellis felt it should have a piazza.
Look at the architecture. It's bonkers.
It feels slightly dreamlike, but I think the thing that really gets me is the detail. You know, there's some amazing big buildings, but it's all the spaces in between and how they kind of intermingle with the landscape. And it's so playful.
Williams Ellis was like an architectural hoarder. He incorporated fragments of all demolished buildings and a number of works by other architects that he'd buy at auction.
So we'll down this lovely staircase, through this beautiful arch, you will see the bell tower, or the campanile, if we're going to be Italian about it. Look how beautiful that is. This was one of the first buildings that Clough Williams Ellis built on the site. And when you think, in any Italian town or city, if you had a big bell tower, it was a sign of your status.
It's fantastic, isn't it? You must be able to see it from miles and miles away.
Come on, Will. Let's go up to the bells at the top. You feeling fit?
Quite a few steps, is it?
The bell tower is one of the only buildings on the entire estate that Clough Williams Ellis did plan drawings for and stuck to them on construction.
Mind your head.
I love the way you come sort of wiggle round the building.
He took a more organic, ad hoc approach to the other buildings as Portmeirion grew.
Look at that, Will.
Oh, wow.
What a view, huh? That's incredible.
So much to take in, isn't there?
There's so many tricks as well. This is concrete. And you expect that to be stone.
Yeah, it is like a theatrical set, isn't it? Sort of slightly unreal, a little bit of trickery and illusion. It's amazing to think, George, that 90 years ago, none of this was here.
I know. I mean, look at it. It's breathtaking. Welcome to Wales. Or Italy.
You have to hand it to Sir Clough Williams-Ellis. He really has created an Italian paradise full of ingenuity and character. Portmeirion has certainly proved a fitting location for the finale of our round-the-world trip of the UK.
Look at that for a view, eh?
Stunning. I love it. You've got Italy and then Wales beyond.
Mate, what a trip.
It's been incredible, hasn't it?
Hasn't it?
I don't think I've ever appreciated how much was on our doorstep.